Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're strapping in for quite a ride into the world of Assetto Corsa racing.
Definitely. We're looking at a really specific race today.
Yeah, not just any race. This was the big one, the S57 R8 finale at the AMS Renault test track, the absolute showdown for the Australian XGN Assetto Corsa Racing League, back on Tuesday, August 19, 2025.
And this race decided it all. The championship winner, the tension must have been, well, you could feel it, even virtually.
Exactly. So we've dug deep into the results, the lap data, looked at how the gaps changed dynamically, the final standings, basically trying to unpack everything.
All the details, from individual moments of skill to those, big dramatic shifts that ultimately crowned the champions.
Right. It's a fantastic snapshot of virtual motorsport, really.
It is. And the data, it's like a gold mine. It lets us see beyond just who finished where and understand the how and the why.
How strategies played out, how consistency maybe battled raw speed.
Yeah, and what these stats tell us about, competitive sim racing itself.
Okay, so let's get into it. By the end, Cooper, he'd grabbed the race win. Incredibly tight finish.
But the bigger story, maybe, was Joe.
Absolutely. Joe secured the overall championship title. Cooper finished a very, very strong second in the season standings.
So the question is, how did it all play out? How did Joe take the title without actually winning this final race?
Okay, let's rewind to the start. From the very beginning of this decider, all eyes were really on Rob.
He had pole position.
He did. And he didn't just start there. He immediately stamped his authority on the race, leading the pack in that Tatuus F3 T318.
Which is a tricky car and needs real precision.
Definitely. He looked, well, pretty unstoppable in those first laps.
He certainly did. Rob led for, 9 full laps?
9 laps, yeah.
And setting a blistering pace, too. It seemed like he was trying to just break away from everyone.
His best lap, that 1:22.393 on lap 7.
Incredible time.
It wasn't just his best lap, it was the fastest single lap recorded by anyone in the entire race.
Wow. So that just shows his intent, right? Dominate from the front, push the limits, pure speed from the get-go.
But while Rob was, flying out in front, the data tells another story further back.
Ah, yes. The opening lap chaos.
Pretty much. Yeah. Several drivers hit trouble almost immediately. Their times just suddenly dropped way off the leader. You can almost picture it. The pressure, the jostling.
Exactly. We saw Lawlery, Rawls, Brad, and Fuzzy. They all had these sharp drops in time relative to Rob in those really crucial first few laps.
So just an early mistake. A spin, maybe.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
An incident, off-track moment, cost them loads of time right at the start. And actually, our analysis picked out Brad as the loneliest driver.
Loneliest? What does that mean?
His average smallest gap to another car, ahead or behind, was over 24 seconds.
24 seconds. So he spent almost the whole race just driving by himself.
Pretty much. In total isolation, far from any close battles.
Man, you almost feel for him. What's that like mentally when you're not in the mix, no draft, no one pushing you?
It's tough. A totally different kind of challenge. Maybe even harder sometimes. No slipstream, no immediate car to pace off.
Easy to lose focus, I guess.
Can be. It demands huge internal focus. Or yeah, you can have little lapses that just eat away at your times. His early problems basically put him in this solitary fight.
And there were contacts too, weren't there? Adds to the early drama.
Yep. Wally had one, Brad had one, and Lawlery actually had 2 contacts.
Ah, okay.
Which certainly helps explain some of those early time losses and the sort of uphill battle they faced after that.
Meanwhile, Cooper, the eventual race winner, he started second.
And he took a different approach, it seems.
Yeah, instead of getting sucked into matching Rob's crazy pace or the early drama, he just settled in quietly.
Tailing Rob initially.
Exactly. The data shows him just slowly, almost invisibly, building his chase. No big incidents, no contacts in those vital opening laps. He was, like, playing the long game.
Biding his time, executing a different strategy.
Right. But as the race went on, this quiet battle started brewing. Rob looked untouchable for those first 9 laps.
But Cooper, back in second, he was just relentless.
You can see it so clearly in the data. Cooper's performance, lap after lap, just steadily creeping closer to Rob's line.
It wasn't a sudden burst, was it?
No, not at all. It was this tiny narrowing of the gap, lap after lap. Pure, unwavering consistency.
And that's where Cooper really excelled. Our analysis flagged him as the most consistent driver.
Yeah.
Get this, 68% of his laps.
68%.
We're within just 0.29 seconds of his average lap time.
Wow. So almost 7 out of every 10 laps were virtually identical.
Exactly. That kind of performance lets you chip away at a lead without taking big risks, without making errors. It speaks volumes about his precision, maybe tire management too.
And just focus under pressure, controlled aggression, knowing just how hard to push.
Precisely.
So this leads to the big question then. What actually happened around lap 9, lap 10? Because that's the turning point, right? Where all that patient chipping away finally worked.
That's the moment, the pivotal moment of the whole race where the story completely flipped.
What does the data show?
A clear crossover. Between lap 9 and lap 10, you see Cooper's line go above Rob's on the gap chart.
Meaning he made the pass.
He successfully executed the pass for the lead. And from that point on, Cooper just held it together, led the final 2 laps, won the race.
It wasn't gifted to him then.
Not at all. It was a well-executed move after this long, strategic chase. Consistency beating that initial raw speed, perhaps?
Maybe Rob's tires started to go after those fast early laps? Or just a tiny mistake under pressure?
Could be either or both. Cooper was right there, relentless, ready to capitalize.
And Cooper wasn't just fast and consistent to get the lead. Once he was there, man, he had to fight for it.
Oh, yeah.
He was statistically the hunted driver, meaning he spent the most time being chased really closely from behind. The average gap to the car behind him was just 0.57 seconds.
Half a second. That's bumper-to-bumper stuff. Seriously. And he was also the busiest driver, average total gap, front and back, just 4.7 seconds. So he was constantly in the thick of it, defending hard right to the flag.
Okay, that makes the win even more impressive. To keep up that consistency while defending under that kind of intense pressure, that's top-level racecraft.
Exceptional mental strength, too. Fast, aware, performing right at the limit when it mattered most.
Definitely shows a driver who isn't just quick, but really knows how to manage a race.
So while all that drama was unfolding at the front, Joe, our eventual champion, he was holding his own a bit further back in third.
Just steadily holding that position for most of the race.
Yeah, kept a measured pace, lost a little touch with Cooper and Rob right at the very end, but he kept his head, kept it steady.
Which, considering the championship, was exactly what he needed to do.
His stats tell an interesting story, too.
Right. He was identified as the hunter, meaning his average gap to the car in front was only 1.82 seconds.
So even though he wasn't quite catching them this race, he was always pushing, always trying to close that gap. That's the sign of a championship contender, isn't it? Aggressive but controlled, always maximizing points, lap after lap, all season long. He might not have won this battle.
But he was always fighting, which clearly mattered for the war.
Exactly.
And looking down the rest of the order, Wally had a really stable run.
Yeah, very consistent in 4th place for most of the race. Minimized mistakes, held position, solid, reliable drive.
And Lawlery, despite those early struggles, the 2 contacts.
Climb back to 5th. That's impressive resilience, really. To recover from that and still get a top 5 shows real persistence.
And Brad, we mentioned him being the loneliest driver, losing time early.
But he set the 2nd fastest lap of the entire race.
Yeah, a 1.22.460 on lap 9. Barely slower than Rob's absolute fastest.
That's fascinating, isn't it? Given he finished 7th, it suggests he has that raw, explosive speed.
But maybe consistency, or avoiding those early issues, was the challenge for him in this one.
Seems likely. And then Fuzzy, unfortunately, had a tougher time. Started 4th, finished 8th. Just struggled to maintain pace throughout. Shows how things can change over a race distance.
Okay, so after all that action, all those stats, what does it all mean for the big picture? The championship.
Well, this race, the AMS Renault test track, it was Cooper's moment. A fantastic win in race 1, the season finale. He grabbed those crucial points right at the end.
But the ultimate prize, the season crown, that went to Joe.
Absolutely. Finishing 3rd in this race was enough. He racked up 205 points across the whole season. That secured him the overall championship.
Yeah, it's a perfect example for you listening. Consistent point scoring across a whole season often trumps individual race win.